Welcome to Spectrum of Wisdom, your one-stop destination for enlightening and engaging content. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the Atlantic puffin, a bird that's as intriguing as it is beautiful. With its vibrant beak and expressive eyes, the Atlantic puffin has captured the hearts of bird enthusiasts worldwide. But there's so much more to this bird than meets the eye. In our video, we'll explore the life of the Atlantic puffin in detail, from its unique mating rituals to its incredible ability to dive deep into the ocean for food. So, sit back, relax, and join us on this exciting journey as we uncover the secrets of the Atlantic puffin. Let's get started. The Atlantic puffin, or Fratercula arctica, is a fascinating seabird that belongs to the auk family. This puffin is the only one of its kind native to the Atlantic Ocean, with its relatives, the tufted puffin and the horned puffin, residing in the northeastern Pacific. The Atlantic puffin has a wide range of breeding grounds, from Russia, Iceland, Ireland, Norway, Greenland, Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, and the Faroe Islands, to as far south as Maine in the west and France in the east. It is most commonly found in the Westman Islands, Iceland. Despite its large population and extensive range, this species has seen rapid declines in certain areas, leading to its classification as vulnerable by the IUCN. On land, it stands upright like a typical auk. At sea, it swims on the surface and dives underwater to catch small fish and crabs using its wings for propulsion. The puffin's appearance is striking with a black crown and back, pale grey cheek patches, and a white body. Its broad red and black beak and orange legs contrast with its plumage. It undergoes molting at sea during winter, losing some of its brightly colored facial characteristics which return during spring. The Atlantic puffin spends autumn and winter in the open ocean of cold northern seas before returning to coastal areas for breeding season in late spring. It nests in clifftop colonies where it lays a single white egg in a burrow. The chicks feed mostly on whole fish and grow rapidly. After about 6 weeks, they are fully fledged and make their way at night to the sea where they do not return to land for several years. Colonies are mostly on islands free of terrestrial predators. However, adult birds and newly fledged chicks are at risk from aerial attacks by gulls and skuas. The puffin's unique appearance has earned it nicknames such as Clown of the Sea and Sea Parrot. It is also the official bird of Newfoundland and Labrador in Canada. The Atlantic puffin, scientifically known as Fratercula arctica, is a captivating seabird that belongs to the auk family, Alcidae. This family also includes guillemots, typical auks, merlets, auklets, puffins, and the razorbill. The Atlantic puffin shares a close relationship with the rhinoceros auklet, and together they form the tribe Fraterculinae. The Atlantic puffin is unique in being the only species in the genus Fratercula found in the Atlantic Ocean. Its relatives, the tufted puffin and the horned puffin, inhabit the northeastern Pacific. The name Fratercula is derived from medieval Latin and means friar, a nod to the bird's black and white plumage that resembles monastic robes. The specific name arctica signifies its northern distribution. The term puffin was originally used for the fatty, salted meat of young birds of another species, the Manx shearwater. The Atlantic puffin acquired this name much later due to its similar nesting habits, and it was officially applied to Fratercula arctica by Pennant in 1768. There are generally 3 recognized subspecies of the Atlantic puffin: F. a. arctica, F. a. grabe, and F. a. normani. The only morphological difference between these subspecies is their size, which increases at higher latitudes. However, some argue that these size differences are clinal and typical of variations found in peripheral populations, suggesting that no subspecies should be recognized. The Atlantic puffin, a robust creature with a stout neck and compact wings, stands proudly at a height of 20 centimeters, 8 in, on land. Its length ranges from 28 to 30 centimeters, 11 to 12 in, measured from the tip of its sturdy bill to its blunt-ended tail. The wingspan extends from 47 to 63 centimeters, 19 to 25 in. The males, slightly larger than the females, share the same vibrant coloration. The bird's glossy black plumage adorns its forehead, crown, nape, back, wings, and tail. A broad black collar encircles its neck and throat. Each side of the head features a large, lozenge-shaped area of pale gray that tapers to a point and nearly meets at the back of the neck. This unique head shape forms a crease extending from the eye to the hindmost point of each patch, creating the illusion of a grey streak. The eyes appear almost triangular due to a small peaked area of horny blue-grey skin above them and a rectangular patch below. The irises are either brown or very dark blue, each encircled by a red orbital ring. The underparts of the bird, the breast, belly, and undertail coverts, are pure white. By the end of the breeding season, the once shiny black plumage may have lost its luster or even taken on a slightly brown tinge. The puffin's legs are short and set well back on its body, giving it an upright stance on land. Both legs and large webbed feet are bright orange, contrasting sharply with its black claws. The beak is truly distinctive. From the side, it appears broad and triangular, however, when viewed from above, it is narrow. The half near the tip is orange-red while the half near the head is slate-grey. A yellow chevron-shaped ridge separates these two parts with a yellow fleshy strip at the base of the bill. At the joint of the two mandibles lies a yellow wrinkled rosette. The Atlantic puffin is not just about looks, it also has a powerful bite. The characteristic bright orange bill plates and other facial features develop in spring. At the close of breeding season, these special coatings and appendages are shed in a partial molt. This makes the beak appear less broad, the tip less bright, and the base darker grey. The puffin's flight is direct and typically 10 meters (35 feet) above sea level. It prefers to paddle along with its webbed feet rather than take to air. It is usually silent at sea but can make soft purring sounds in flight. At breeding colonies, it remains quiet above ground but can make growling sounds resembling a revving chainsaw in its burrow. The Atlantic puffin, a denizen of the frigid waters of the North Atlantic Ocean, breeds along the coasts of northwest Europe, the Arctic fringes, and eastern North America. Over 90% of the global population is found in Europe, with colonies in Iceland alone housing 60% of the world's Atlantic puffins. The largest colony in the Western Atlantic, estimated at more than 260,000 pairs, is located at the Witless Bay Ecological Reserve, south of St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. Other significant breeding locations include the north and west coasts of Norway, the Faroe Islands, Shetland and Orkney, the west coast of Greenland, and the coasts of Newfoundland. Smaller colonies are also found elsewhere in the British Isles, the Murmansk area of Russia, Novaya Zemlya, Spitsbergen, Labrador, Nova Scotia, and Maine. Islands seem to be particularly attractive to these birds for breeding as compared to mainland sites. While at sea, this bird ranges widely across the North Atlantic Ocean, including the North Sea, and may even enter the Arctic Circle. In summer, its southern limit stretches from northern France to Maine. In winter, it may range as far south as the Mediterranean Sea and North Carolina. In Maine, light-level geolocators have been attached to puffins' legs to store information about their whereabouts. One bird was found to have covered 7,700 kilometers (4,800 miles) of ocean in 8 months. The survival rate of adults is a crucial factor influencing the success of this species due to its long lifespan and small clutch size. Only 5% of ring puffins that failed to reappear at the colony did so during the breeding season. The rest were lost sometime between departing from land in summer and reappearing the following spring. The birds spend winter widely spread out in open ocean waters. However, individuals from different colonies tend to overwinter in different areas. Little is known about their behavior and diet at sea. The Atlantic puffin, a solitary voyager of the vast ocean, leads a life shrouded in mystery. Imagine a lone puffin, bobbing like a cork on the sea's surface, propelling itself with powerful foot thrusts and always facing the wind, even when it appears to be resting or asleep. It spends a significant portion of its day preening, maintaining its plumage and spreading oil from its preen glands. Its downy underplumage stays dry, providing thermal insulation. Like other seabirds, the puffin's upper surface is black while its underside is white, a clever camouflage strategy. From above, it blends with the dark ocean, eluding aerial predators. From below, it merges with the bright sky above the waves, escaping underwater attackers. When it's time to take flight, the puffin runs across the water's surface, flapping its wings vigorously before soaring into the sky. Its wings are small relative to its weight and adapted for use both above and below water. To stay airborne, the wings must beat rapidly several times per second. The puffin flies low over the water at speeds of up to 80 km per hour, 50 miles per hour, its flight path direct and purposeful. Landing can be a bit clumsy. It either crashes into a wave crest or does a belly flop in calmer waters. While at sea, the Atlantic puffin undergoes its annual molt. Unlike land birds that lose their primaries one pair at a time to maintain flight ability, the puffin sheds all its primaries at once and forgoes flight for a month or two. This molt usually occurs between January and March, but young birds may lose their feathers slightly later in the year. So next time you see an Atlantic puffin, remember the incredible journey it undertakes every year, a testament to nature's resilience and adaptability. The Atlantic puffin's diet is primarily fish-based, although it occasionally indulges in shrimp, other crustaceans, mollusks, and polychaete worms, particularly in coastal waters. When it comes to fishing, the puffin is a master. It swims underwater, using its semi-extended wings as paddles to fly through the water and its feet as a rudder. It's a fast swimmer, capable of reaching considerable depths and staying submerged for up to a minute. The puffin can consume fish as long as 18 centimeters, 7 in, but it typically preys on smaller fish, around 7 centimeters, 3 in, long. An adult puffin needs to consume an estimated 40 of these per day, with sand eels, herring, capelin, and spruts being the most common choices. The puffin is a sight fisher and can swallow small fish while still underwater. Larger catches are brought to the surface. Remarkably, it can catch several small fish in one dive, holding the first ones in place in its beak with its muscular, grooved tongue while it catches others. Its mandibles are hinged to hold a row of fish parallelly, and these are also retained by inward-facing serrations on the edges of the beak. As for the excess salt that it swallows from its marine diet, the puffin has a unique way of dealing with it. It's partly processed through its kidneys and partly excreted through specialized salt glands in its nostrils. So next time you see a puffin, remember not just its striking appearance but also its remarkable adaptations for survival at sea. In the spring, mature Atlantic puffins embark on a journey back to land, usually to the colony where they were hatched. They gather in small groups offshore for a few days before returning to their cliff-top nesting sites. Each large puffin colony is divided into sub-colonies by physical boundaries such as stands of bracken or gorse. The early birds get the best spots, with the most desirable nesting sites being the densely packed burrows on grassy slopes just above the cliff edge, where takeoff is easiest. Puffins are usually monogamous, but this is more due to their loyalty to their nesting sites rather than their mates. They often return to the same burrows year after year. Latecomers may find that all the prime nesting sites are taken, pushing them towards the periphery where they face greater predation risk. Younger birds may arrive a month or more after the mature birds and find no remaining nesting sites. They do not breed until the following year. Puffins are cautious when approaching the colony and prefer to land where other puffins are already present. They make several circuits of the colony before landing. On land, they spend much time preening, spreading oil from their preened gland, and setting each feather in its correct position with beak or claw. They also spend time standing by their burrow entrances and interacting with passing birds. Dominance is shown by an upright stance, with fluffed chest feathers and a cocked tail, an exaggerated slow walk, head jerking, and gaping. Submissive birds lower their heads and hold their bodies horizontally and scurry past dominant individuals. Birds normally signal their intention to take off by briefly lowering their bodies before running down the slope to gain momentum. New colonies are unlikely to start spontaneously because puffins prefer to nest where others are already present. However, there have been successful reintroductions. For instance, the Audubon Society reintroduced puffins on eastern Egg Rock Island in Maine after a 90-year absence, and they started breeding again. By 2011, over 120 pairs were nesting on the small islet. On the Isle of May on the other side of the Atlantic, puffin numbers have also rebounded dramatically. In 1958, only 5 pairs of puffins were breeding there. Fast forward 20 years, and the number had skyrocketed to 10,000 pairs. These examples show how, with time and careful management, puffin populations can recover and thrive. After spending the winter alone on the ocean, it's unclear whether Atlantic puffins reunite with their previous partners offshore or back at their nests from the previous year. Once on land, they quickly set about improving and clearing out their burrows. Often, one puffin stands guard at the entrance while the other excavates, kicking out soil and grit that showers the partner standing outside. Some puffins collect stems and fragments of dry grasses as nesting materials, but others do not. Apart from nest building, puffins also reinforce their bond through a practice called billing. This involves the pair approaching each other, wagging their heads from side to side, and then rattling their beaks together. This seems to be an important part of their courtship behavior, as it happens repeatedly throughout the breeding season. Atlantic puffins reach sexual maturity at 4 to 5 years old. They are colonial nesters, excavating burrows on grassy cliff tops or reusing existing holes. Sometimes they may nest in crevices and among rocks and scree. They can excavate their own hole or move into a pre-existing system dug by a rabbit, and have been known to peck and drive off the original occupant. Egg-laying starts in April in more southerly colonies, but seldom occurs before June in Greenland. The female lays a single white egg each year. If this is lost early in the breeding season, another might be produced. The egg is large compared to the size of the bird, averaging 61 mm, 2 + 3/8 in, long by 42 mm, 1 + 5/8 in, wide, and weighing about 62 g, 2 + 3/16 ounce. The incubation responsibilities are shared by both parents. So next time you see a puffin, remember not just its striking appearance but also its remarkable adaptations for survival at sea. The incubation period for the Atlantic puffin lasts approximately 39 to 45 days. The first sign of hatching is the arrival of an adult puffin carrying a beakload of fish. For the first few days, the chick may be fed beak to beak, but later the fish are simply dropped on the floor of the nest beside the chick, which swallows them whole. Covered in fluffy black down, the chick's eyes are open, and it can stand as soon as it hatches. Initially weighing about 42 g, 1 + 1/2 ounce, it grows at a rate of 10 g, 3/8 ounce, per day. In the beginning, one or both parents brood it, but as its appetite increases, it is left alone for longer periods. The chick spends much of its time sleeping between its parents' visits, but also engages in bouts of exercise. It rearranges its nesting material, picks up and drops small stones, flaps its immature wings, pulls at protruding root ends, and pushes against the unyielding wall of the burrow. It makes its way towards the entrance or along a side tunnel to defecate. The growing chick seems to anticipate the arrival of an adult, advancing along the burrow just before it arrives, but not emerging into the open air. It retreats to the nest chamber as the adult bird brings in its load of fish. This glimpse into the life of a puffin chick reveals a world of growth, adaptation, and anticipation. Puffins often hunt in areas located 100 kilometers (62 miles) or more offshore from their nest sites. When feeding their young, they venture out only half that distance. Adults bringing fish to their chicks tend to arrive in groups, which is thought to reduce kleptoparasitism by the Arctic skua, a bird that harasses puffins until they drop their fish loads. Predation by the great skua is also reduced when several birds arrive simultaneously. In the Shetland Islands, sand eels normally form at least 90% of the food fed to chicks. In years when sand eels were scarce, breeding success rates fell, with many chicks starving to death. In Norway, herring is the mainstay of the puffin diet. When herring numbers dwindled, so did puffin numbers. In Labrador, puffins seemed more flexible and were able to adapt and feed their chicks on other prey species when their staple forage fish, capelin, declined in availability. The chicks take from 34 to 50 days to fledge, depending on the abundance of their food supply. In years of fish shortage, the whole colony may experience a longer fledgling period. The chick may come to the burrow entrance to defecate, but does not usually emerge into the open and seems to have an aversion to light until it is nearly fully fledged. During the last few days underground, the chick sheds its down and its juvenile plumage is revealed. Its relatively small beak and its legs and feet are a dark color, and it lacks the white facial patches of the adult. The chick finally leaves its nest at night when the risk of predation is at its lowest. It cannot fly properly yet, so descending a cliff is perilous. When it reaches the water, it paddles out to sea and may be 3 kilometers (1.9 miles) away from shore by daybreak. It does not congregate with others of its kind and does not return to land for 2 to 3 years. Atlantic puffins are likely safer at sea, where dangers often come from below the water rather than above. Seals and large fish have been known to prey on puffins. Most puffin colonies are on small islands, which helps avoid predation by ground-based mammals such as foxes, rats, stoats, weasels, cats, and dogs. However, when they come ashore, the main threats come from the sky. Aerial predators of the Atlantic puffin include the great black-backed gull, the great skua, and similar-sized species. These predators can catch a bird in flight or attack one that is unable to escape fast enough on the ground. Upon sensing danger, puffins either fly down to the safety of the sea or retreat into their burrows. If caught, they defend themselves vigorously with their beaks and sharp claws. Smaller gull species such as the herring gull and the lesser black-backed gull are hardly able to bring down a healthy adult puffin. They stride through the colony, taking any eggs that have rolled towards burrow entrances or recently hatched chicks that have ventured too far toward daylight. They also steal fish from puffins returning to feed their young. Both the Guillemot ticixidzurii and the flea Ornithopsilla letitii, probably originally a rabbit flea, have been recorded from the nests of puffins. Other fleas found on the birds include Ceratophilus borealis, Ceratophilus galleni, Ceratophilus garay, Ceratophilus vagabunda, and the common rabbit flea Spilocilus cuniculi. Breeding colonies of Atlantic puffins indeed offer a fascinating spectacle for bird watchers and tourists. For instance, every year, 4,000 puffins nest on islands off the coast of Maine. During the summers, visitors can view them from tour boats that operate in the area. The Project Puffin Visitor Center in Rockland provides valuable information about the birds and their lives, as well as other conservation projects undertaken by the National Audubon Society, which runs the center. You can even view the colony on Seal Island National Wildlife Refuge via live cams during the breeding season. Similar tours operate in other parts of the world as well, such as Iceland, the Hebrides, and Newfoundland. These tours offer an incredible opportunity to witness these remarkable birds in their natural habitat. So if you're a bird lover or just an admirer of nature's beauty, a visit to these puffin colonies would be a truly unforgettable experience. The Atlantic puffin holds a special place in many cultures. It is the official bird symbol of Newfoundland and Labrador in Canada. The bird's fascinating behavior even led to an unsuccessful proposal by Michael Ignatieff, deputy leader of the Liberal Party of Canada, to make it the official symbol of the party. The Norwegian municipality of V Latin letter ARY also features an Atlantic puffin as its civic emblem. Puffins have been affectionately referred to as clowns of the sea and sea parrots, and juvenile puffins are sometimes called pufflings. Several islands have been named after this charming bird. For instance, the island of Lundy in the United Kingdom is believed to derive its name from the Norse Lundy, meaning Puffin Island. The Atlantic puffin has also made its mark in the world of literature and publishing. Penguin Books introduced a range of books for children under the Puffin Books brand in 1939. A tradition on the Icelandic island of Heimaey involves children rescuing young puffins, a fact beautifully captured in Bruce Macmillan's photo-illustrated children's book, Knights of the Pufflings, 1995. In addition to their ecological importance, puffins continue to inspire and captivate people around the world with their unique charm and character. And that brings us to the end of our journey with the Atlantic puffin today. We've explored the life of this fascinating bird, from its solitary voyages at sea to its industrious burrow engineering on land. We've seen how it adapts to changing food supplies and how it navigates the challenges of predators and harsh environments. Thank you for joining us on this adventure. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the wonders of nature, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel, Spectrum of Wisdom. Your support helps us continue to bring you more content like this. Remember, every creature has a story, and every story is a spectrum of wisdom waiting to be discovered. So, until our next journey, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep marveling at the wonders of our natural world. This is Spectrum of Wisdom, signing off. See you in the next video.